Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are listening to this and when. We are starting a brand new season of the podcast. Very excited about this one. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice we've had a little bit of a rebrand. So moving forward, for now at least, we are going to be sharing the Heaven and Hell stories here, live on Facebook, every morning, every weekday morning at 9 a.m. And then they'll be going out to YouTube and all the regular podcasting places. So I should a quick housekeeping announcement for anybody who is watching or listening to these after the event. If you would like to join us live and get that little boost of inspiration, a quick story first thing in the morning, you can now do that live on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Ms. L. Edwards. But don't worry, you're going to have lots and lots of options. One of the ultimate UIA things, I suppose, is giving you lots of different places to enjoy the stories. The goal is to have these short 5 to 10 minute episodes and going out, like I say, to all of the different places. The inspiration or the goal of these moving forward, like I say, for now at least, is to give you those short little stories. One of the ways that God shares his heart with me is through day-to-day happenings. So something will happen in the day, and then there'll be a takeaway or an aha from that moment. Now, he'd been doing this for years. It's only relatively recently that I actually realised it was him. And so now that I know it's him, I can say to him, well, what are you actually saying through this? Where's your heart in this? And so I've already got, over the weekend, I sat down, okay, what story shall we share? As we have a list already. And so this morning, okay, well, which one of these are we going to start with? And so today we are starting with, what are you expecting? And this was inspired by dog walking. So it probably won't surprise you that when I go out walking the dog, although not today, the weather is disgusting today, she has not been out yet, but on a nice sunny delightful day, when, particularly those sort of spring days when the breeze is sort of there and it just feels lovely to be alive. On those occasions, if we bump into people, not literally, COVID, but if we bump into people who we know, fellow dog walkers, we'll stop and have a little chit chat, and it's really nice. And over the years, I've got to know a number of different people, and it's just lovely. I enjoy that part of the day and chit chatting. What's really fascinating to me though is I can walk past some of those same people without the dog, perhaps in a not in a dog walking coat or something. I can walk past them in the town and they won't recognise me because I'm out of context. They're not expecting to see me. They don't see me with a dog, and so they don't know me. They literally don't know me. And so the thing that there was two parts to this that the Holy Spirit was nudging me around. It was the first part of this is, what are you expecting? Because what you expect will quite literally change the way that your day will unfold. And so my classic example of this, a story that some of my friends and family members have heard me tell more than once. If you start your day and you spill your coffee and you say to yourself, oh, well, the day is ruined now. Guess what's going to happen? Your brain is going to prove you right. Your mind is going to prove you right. There's a distinction, which is a conversation for another time, between your brain and your mind. Your brain is like a lump of stuff inside your head. Your mind is the piece that's been wired by God and does all the creative stuff. That's just semantics as an aside. But if you ever hear me correcting myself, that's the reason why. But your mind will want to prove you right. And so guess what happens? From then on in, you'll start to notice all of the things that add up to make the day, ruined. However, if you spill your coffee and go, oh, well, the day can only get much better from here, guess what happens? The day will get better from here. I've actually had occasions, I don't spill my coffee very often, you'd be glad to know, but I've had occasions where this has happened from other things. Something's happened at the start of the day that's been quite frustrating or niggling, and I've actively chosen to go, right, this day can only get better from here. And it does. Not always in massive ways, but those little tiny things, and they all make a difference. They all add up. So you can step into the day and use the power of the mind that God gave you to unfold this day in a new and delightful way. These Heaven and Hell stories and the way that this marvellous magical May, as I'm calling it, is unfolding is another evidence of that. I sat down, I said, okay, God, what stories do you want? And guess what? I was expecting him to speak and give me answers. And he did. Boom, 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 boom. One of the things we're going to be doing later on this month is a birthday celebration with Heaven and Hell stories from other people. But to do that, I need to reach out to people. Okay, God, who are we going to reach out to? Boom, 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 boom. We had a list of over 43 people by the end of that. I think God knows that one or two people are going to say no, so he's given me some extras. What you expect how you step into the day, those expectations make all the difference in the world. There's another side to this, though, that God nudged me around. Because if I was to bump into one of my children, or my husband, or my mum and dad, my siblings, in the town centre, out of context, where they weren't expecting to see me, they would still know me. They would still recognise me. They might be like, oh, hello, I didn't expect to see you there, but they'd know it was me. And so the piece that Holy Spirit was nudging me around is, what if we never... Because we are never out of context for God. There is no situation that you will step into where he won't recognise you or he won't see you. You are always known and loved and seen by him. But what about us? What if God was never out of context for us? What if we always expected to see him? What if we got to know him, that close relationship, doing day-to-day life with him, such that no matter how he showed up, and I've given you the example already of these stories. He'd been speaking to me through stories for years. I just didn't know it was him yet. There will be examples for you too. Times where you very clearly hear God. And we say hear in inverted commas because how you experience God isn't always about a big booming voice. I don't know if I know anybody. I must know such. Okay. I'll put it out there. If you're somebody who's following along and you've heard God in a big booming voice, tell me. But most people I speak to, they don't hear God in a big booming voice. They hear him in a gentle whisper. There'll be a nudge inside their soul. Sometimes it's just, you just know. Sometimes it's a thought that pops in there. Sometimes it's stories. Sometimes, as you're going to hear later in the week, it's things that you'll see out there in nature. Sometimes it's a smell. God speaks all of the languages in the world. I was reminded of that this morning. He knows every single language, literally every human language, but language as a metaphor as well. So the nudge or the invitation that I want to leave you with for this first episode in our brand new season of the podcast is, what would it look like for you to always know God, to always be expecting to hear from him? Again, remember, that's here in inverted commas. Always to have that relationship, because he is there all the time. He has never stopped loving on you from the very moment you were born. Before you were born, we're told in the Psalms, before you were even a twinkle in your mother and father's eye, he knew you. Doesn't say it exactly like that, I'm paraphrasing. But what if God was never out of context? What if we got to understand and dig into God and appreciate God and know God so well that we would recognise him everywhere, even just like we do with those people, our family members, our friends who are really close to us. Because the people who, if you bumped into them 100 miles from where you are right now, you'd still know them because you'd know them really, really well. And that's a whisper of how much God knows you and loves you. And he's inviting you to know him in that way too. So I really hope that you have a delightful super duper day. We are keeping these episodes nice and sweet and short. Like I say, 5 to 10 minutes. I was having a glance at the timer there to see how we're doing. There's a dual purpose to that. By keeping them short and sweet, they're every single day, it makes it easier for you to get that little sort of story as you start your day. It also allows it to go out to different formats as well. So like I already mentioned, the podcast, but also Alexa and IGTV and all of these places. You have options. So I should say as well, no matter where you're listening or watching, if you enjoy these, and depending upon where you're doing, you can subscribe or follow or like or whatever it looks like within the context of the platform. And if you know somebody who would enjoy these stories, please share them with those people, because I don't know who I don't know yet, but any friend of yours is a friend of mine as well. And finally, my quick plug, if you like, we're going even deeper in the Itchy Soul Playground. So getting to know the heart of God, having those interactions and just knowing how loved you are, that's the first part of this. In the Itchy Soul Playground, we're doing community together. So I would invite you, if you're somebody who is ready to really explore who it is that God made you to be, and then move forward with those dreams and those ambitions and those things he's niggling at you about, we've got you covered in the playground. youear.com/join is where you can find out more and join us. In the meantime, thank you for being here with me. I'm really excited to see how this is going to unfold over the days and weeks and months. I'm going to say it, let's put it out there and trust it. But in the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow. If you're going to be coming here live, 9 a.m. on the Facebook page, but everybody else they'll be going live out to all of the places later on in the day. Wishing you a super duper delightful day, and I shall catch up with you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.